Alright, so since we're not able to meet for these troubleshooting things because of my schedule, I'm going to start sending out these little tidbits here for you to look at. And obviously here we've got a motor, and we've got a stop switch that's normally closed, a start switch that's normally open. We've got the motor starter coil here, and then we got our overload, and of course our load contact, that is the contact of this coil that's closing, and provided the heater is not open, our motor should come on. So I'm on turn it on, and I'm going to hit start, and we see the motor is coming on here, and I'm going to hit stop, and we see the motor is not going off. Now I can click the off button, and you can hear the motor winding back down, and I can turn it back on. I'm turning all power on and off, and we can repeat that. We can see it works with start, but stop does not stop it. So you may think, well, I think I already know what's wrong with it. You may be right, but we can validate this simply by making some measurements. We can actually validate it by using volts here. So I'm going to click on each one of these, and right now our power has been turned off and back on, so we have not pressed start to engage the motor. So my first question is, what should we read across here? So think of that for just a moment, and then let's look, and we're reading 0 volts. Then I want you to think, and again, we haven't applied power, what should we read across here? And we're reading 120 volts. And then I want you to think, we haven't pressed start, what should we read here? And we read 0. And what should we read here? And we read 0. So obviously, one of these with it off, we should be reading 120 volts, because it's not here. If we were at 120 volts here, we should have the motor running. We shouldn't read 120 volts here, but we should read it here until we press start, and then this 120 that's across this open contact should close, and we should see the 120 or 117 volts little drop with the load there. So now I'm going to measure. We know the problem seems to be up here in this top run. I'm going to measure across each one of these, and based on these measurements, I want you to tell me what is wrong and how you view that. So here's the stop button. We're reading 0 volts, and I'm going to activate it. And even when I activate it, we're still reading 0 volts. I'm going to read across my start. I'm going to activate it doesn't change. I'm going to hit the stop, it doesn't change. I'm going to read across my coil, hitting stop or start. Once we've started, it doesn't change it. I'm going to read across my overload, hitting start or stop, it doesn't change it. So with the measurements I made lastly on this top row, you should be able to tell me what's wrong and how you view that it is definitely in the state that it's in. Any of you that want to reply, I'll happy to respond to you and let you know yay or nay if you got it. So we're just going to kind of do this rather than meeting on Tuesdays for those of you that want some troubleshooting opportunities.